the Springfield Armory XD 2.0 versus the Glock 19. Let's check it out. Now, both the Glock and the XD series has been hugely popular in the United States. And one of the reasons why that there are different guns, whether it's these two or the HK, the SIG, the Smith & Wesson M&P line, I mean, there's so many different models out there that will fit individual shooters, and it's up to their preferences. The Glock has definitely been a hugely popular striker fire pistol. It was one of the first actual polymer frame striker fire pistol that was produced, and it was in 1982 is when it actually kind of went online. The SH 2000, which is actually the XD, the original company that makes the XD, they were produced since 1999. A lot of different variations, a lot of different things. This is a Gen 3 Glock, and of course there are differences with the Gen 4, which we'll kind of address a few of those in with this. Then we have, of course, the new Mod 2 XD, which is an improvement over some of the originals. Now, this is not a one of these is going to win. There's no winner here. They're both winners. They're both good quality handguns. They're reliable, they're accurate, and you know, they're ergonomic. So the big thing is we want to do is look a little bit at the similarities, but then go straight into the differences. Because I'm not going to try to talk you into anything. I just want you to look. Maybe you're looking for, you know, your first handgun, and you want a 9mm about this size, and you're looking for certain things. So we're going to talk about some of the differences, and then what I really recommend is, if you're making a decision, is to go to your local gun shop and put both of these in your hand, and even better yet, if you can shoot both, and decide from there. So what we're going to do is give you some food for thought. Now, the first thing is we're going to make sure the guns are unloaded, and I've already safety checked them, but we're going to double check. What we have here are two striker fire polymer frame pistols. They both have 4-inch barrels, and pretty much they are made for the same purpose, you know, as self-defense. They're both 9mm, but of course, obviously, these both come in a number of different calibers and different configurations. But we're going to kind of head-to-head with these, and all that will apply to each of the models. Of course, they do both have the trigger, the safety in the trigger, which has the small little lever. Both of the frames are really well-made polymer, but there are some differences with the polymer finish. I think the polymer on the XD is a little more rigid, a little it just has less give than your Glock. Now, we have some Talon grips on here, and I have a few upgrades to this pistol that we're going to address as well, but overall, just the basics. The slides have a really nice finish that is weather resistant, and of course, you know, they both have rear serrations, which obviously the XD has front serrations, which are going to give it a little bit more of an advantage. One thing that I do very much like about these two is that they're very slick as far as the controls. There are no extended controls, even though you have a small slide release or slide stop right here that sticks out just a touch. There's very little difference, and that's one of the things about the Glock that's always been very appealing, is how narrow and how slim that it is, and very Spartan. And the XD does a pretty good job. It does have a little extra, but we're going to get into that in just a minute. Now, one of the things too is the two magazines. Both of them have steel in the magazine, which the Glock has steel inserts. But the G19 is 15-in-1, while the XD Mod 2 is 16-in-1, and it is a stainless steel. And so it's a little bit longer, and which makes, obviously, the grip a little bit longer. Now we're going to insert the magazines because I want to give a head-to-head on just the silhouette and the size of these two pistols. Now, as far as one on top of the other, the Glock 19 is a little bit less in length. Obviously, you have one extra round, which that accounts for. But the grip itself. Now, the slide itself, even though the actual slide is just a touch longer on the XD, the barrel protrudes just a little bit on the Glock. So it actually ends up being a wash. They're both the exact same length. So the only difference you have here is your height. As far as width goes, your grip width and the slide width on the XD is just a little bit more narrow. The reason why is really not because of the slide, but because of the frame. As you can see how the Glock kind of pops out right here, it adds just a little bit of dimension to the width, the total width. As far as the slides themselves, they're pretty much the same. One of the things about the slide, though, is the Glock is more squared off, whereas the XD does have a shelf here that kind of narrows that down. So that's going to be a little probably easier to insert in holsters just because it's just a little more narrow. As far as grip width, it's actually 1.2 inches in width. But the big thing is the grip between the front strap and the back strap. With the Glock, it's 2.2 inches at the widest point. With the XD, it's 2 inches even. So it's only about 2/10 of an inch difference, but when you grip the pistols, you can definitely feel more of a difference. I mean, the grip on the Glock is a little bit more filling, and to me, the XD is a little more ergonomic. It kind of fits really well in the hand. Now, one of the things, again, is, guys, I've been shooting Glocks for, again, 30 years almost. And, this is one thing that I'm very used to. But honestly, grabbing a hold of this pistol, I really like the grip on the XD. I wasn't a big fan of the original XDs, their grip. But with the new grip zone, I really like that. Now, a lot of people, they get kind of critical about having grip zone on the grip. And, it's aesthetics, I understand, but there it is. But really, the grip is exceptional. One of the things, though, that the XD does have that I failed to mention is a grip safety, and that's a big one. That's one thing that the Glock obviously only has the safe action trigger, which the XD also has the same. But we also have a grip safety. Now, for some, they're like, I don't need a grip safety. Well, the 1911s have had them for years, and obviously still have them. And, it's just one of those things that it has. Here, the XD has it. It never gets in the way. It takes very little effort to depress it to be able to get it to fire. So really, to me, it's there. It does give you an added step in your safety for the pistol. So some are going to like this, some are not. The Glock has one slot, whereas the XD has 3 slots. That's going to give you a little more advantage with a multitude of different lasers and lights to go on here, which, these fit a lot of different lights. There's not really a problem, but there are some different sizes that this could give you a little more adjustment. We mentioned the front cocking serrations on the slide of the XD, which they do not have on the Glock. Also, the trigger guard on the Glock is more squared off, whereas the XD is rounded off. Both have really nice texturing, and especially if you get into the Gen 4. Now, one of the things about the Gen 4 that you're going to have a plus with is their interchangeable back straps, which they're not with the XD. With the XDM, yes, you have it, but with the XD, the Mod 2, there is no interchangeable back straps. Now, as far as sights go, and I had to pull out my Model 26, which has the regular Glock factory sights. And as you can see, it's a square at the back. It frames in the front sight. This works well, but they are polymer, and a lot of guys, including myself, usually end up changing these out. Here on the XD, you have your 2-dot at the front, but you have a really nice fiber optic sight at the front, and this really shows up well. In fact, the sights on the XD were much better than the Glock, even with the Glock sights that I have on here that are night sights. You do have a loaded chamber indicator right here that's visible. When the trigger is pulled, it disappears. With the Glock, you don't have it at the back. but you do have somewhat of one right here when the extractor kind of pokes out just a little bit. As far as weight on the pistols, with the magazine inserted, 27.5 for the XD, 23.9 with the Glock, including the Talon grips, which probably add about an ounce. So you're definitely getting some weight savings with the Glock 19, but again, you're getting one extra round with the XD. The magazine release on the Glock is polymer. With the Gen 4, it's a little bit larger and still polymer. It can be switched to either side, so you do have an option if you're left-handed. With the XD, it's right here, it's metal, and it's ambidextrous already, so there's no changing, and you can do it however you want to. The magazines come out really slick because of the magazine, and makes it really easy. With the Glock, of course, we have drop-free mags. They come out, but not near as quick because of a little bit of the friction between the polymer. Now, in my Glock 19, I have one of the Zev technology triggers, which makes it totally unfair to check trigger pull compared to the XD. But on the standard 26, I do have the regular Glock trigger. So we're going to check the difference in trigger and just kind of give you an idea. With the Glock, you have some take up, and then a nice little spongy snap, which is typical Glock trigger. And then with the XD, it's some take up, pretty smooth, and we have a little bit of stacking and then a click. I will say that the XD trigger is a little superior than the Glock, but it's not hugely superior. And we're going to look at reset right here. Reset. That's pretty quick. So the Glock really beats it on reset. I think that though the initial trigger pull, the XD really has some advantage. As far as takedown of the pistol, just bring it back about 1/8 of an inch, drop those two little tabs, pull the trigger, and slide comes right off. With the XD, engage your slide stop, bring your lever up, release your slide, pull the trigger, and it comes right off. A little different. I really think that the lever's a little easier to manipulate, but I'm really used to manipulating the Glock takedown. But really, for the beginner and for those who are not used to it, this is definitely going to be easier because the lever's a little larger. You can flip it up. Then again, the lever's a little larger. Here on the slide, you have your recoil spring and guide rod is captive. It is a steel guide rod, and it's double springed. With the Glock, of course, you have a polymer guide rod, and then you have your recoil spring. I know on the 26, it is a double recoil spring, a little bit more of an advantage to me with the XD. Of course, bringing your barrels out, same kind of deal. And of course, the Glock is pretty dirty, but really, the XD has a really finely polished feed ramp, which the Glock did not. The barrel lockup too is a little bit different with forks here and then with a solid piece here. And of course you can see the differences with the XD at my right and the Glock at the left. Frames are very similar, obviously Glock inspired with the design, which was ingenious, and of course, you know, flattery is the highest compliment. The slide rails on the Glock are pretty minimal here and then here at the rear. With the XD, with the locking block, it is a pretty sizable rail system right here. But one of the things that's a little bit different is the back is actually polymer. It's larger and it's bigger, but it's still polymer. So you have more surface with the XD. With the Glock, it's smaller, but it is metal at the back. And so while there are a few differences, there are a lot more similarities. Now we're going to reassemble. Now at the range, shooting both, they were both completely 100% reliable, function very well, they're accurate pistols, and just really the grip is really the biggest difference. With the little bit higher bore axis, it may give a little bit different feel to it, but honestly, shooting quite a few rounds, you know, it was pretty much one or the other. XD, Glock, these are the groups. using HPR 115 grain. They were actually jacketed hollow points and easy to see targets. And I want to thank HPR for supplying the ammo. Again, guys, I've been using this stuff for years. It's been about 5 years, and just love it. And yes, they sponsor the channel, but I choose HPR. Now the Glock 19 Gen 3 runs about the $500 range, give or take a few dollars, and then about $550 for the Gen 4. For the XD, they're running about $450, $460, and of course their XDMs run more like the Gen 4s. So you're getting a pretty good significant difference, probably about a $50 difference between the two, with the Springfield Armory being lower. That's definitely an advantage for Springfield. Both come though, and I don't think I mentioned this, with 2 mags. There have been models of the XDM that have come with 3 mags and certain specials that they run. Now, one more addition to the Springfield Armory is it does come in this black finish, but it also comes in a stainless. So you have either choice of that, which the Glock comes as it is. You can get different frame colors with the Glock. I know they have the FDE. Sometimes they'll have a green or OD. The Springfield Armory has different frame colors as well. So overall, 2 excellent pistols that have been proven, that are very accurate, that are reliable, and you know, you just have to make your choice. Some guys will say, which I've said it in the past and I'll say it again, the Glock is the AK of the handgun world. I mean, it just functions like crazy. It's one of the reasons why the Navy SEALs adopted this as their handgun. So, you know, that's important. The XD also has military history and reliability. It is with the Croatian military and others. Because there's so many different preferences to different guns, it is impossible to say one is better than the other. Unless you have serious malfunction problems or the accuracy is off, or, you know, it's just a really unwieldy handgun. But both of these handguns are ergonomic. They're both obviously proven designs. Either way you go, you're going to have a great pistol. And like for me, I choose both. So the Springfield Armory XD 2.0, thumbs way up. The Glock 19, thumbs way up. 2 thumbs up, baby. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. On the XD, it is metal. Oh, dadgummit. Oh, my foot. One more addition to the Glock. Okay. Today we're going to take a look at 2 pistols. The Smith & Wesson XD against the... We're going to check them out side by side and look at all the different features.